everyone, this is Mrs. Padmashri from SNS College of Engineering. Today I am going to explain about K-means clustering in machine learning. So let's understand what is this K-means clustering in machine learning algorithm. This is a very important algorithm mainly used in unsupervised machine learning algorithm. So it comes under the category of unsupervised. What is this unsupervised machine learning algorithm? We are going to train with unlabeled data set. Usually the supervised data set will be given the name of the data set. Say for example a student data set, or we can say um, employee data set. But here we are not going to give any data set name. We are going to train the algorithm with unlabeled data set, which is called as unsupervised machine learning algorithm. So the one example algorithm is K-means clustering algorithm. We are going to discuss in this session, which groups, what is this algorithm does? It groups the unlabeled data set into different clusters. Okay, so it is a process of teaching the machine to use the unlabeled data set and also unclassified data that enable the algorithm to operate on the data set without any supervision. So here we don't have any supervisor to monitor what is going on in the algorithm. Only the machine itself will understand what is there in the data set, and it will try to analyze what type of data set it is, and it will classify automatically. It will classify automatically, and it is going to make as a unlabeled data set. Okay, so this is a process without any previous data training. The machine's job is to organize the unsorted data. And how it will organize the data? It will be doing that job based on the similarity, right? Based on the similarity, or we can say the patterns, parallels, and variation. So based on these criteria, the machine will be organizing the unsorted data or unlabeled data set. Let's move on to the next slide. What is the goal of this clustering algorithm? K-means clustering. The goal is to divide the entire data set, the population, the entire data points into a number of groups, so that the data points present in each group will be having some similarity compared to the other group. Okay, that's what I have written in the slide. The data points in each group are more comparable to one another and different from the other data point with the other present in the other groups. So what I'm trying to explain is, it will make the K-means clustering. It will make a different clusters. This algorithm, we are going to give some unsorted data set. So with that unsorted data set, the K-means will be making a different clusters. So if I take one cluster, inside that cluster, all the data points will be having some similarity. And if I take the another cluster, there will be some difference from these two, cluster 1 and cluster 2. But inside the cluster 2, all the data points will be having some similarity. Or maybe the similarity will be based on patterns, or anything, right? Maybe the patterns, variations, etc. So this algorithm will make different clusters. It is essentially grouping of things based on how the data are similar and how they are different from other clusters, right? This is the main goal or main job of the K-means clustering algorithm. Next, we'll move on how to achieve this. So, okay. So as I explained, we are going to make a cluster based on the patterns, similarities, etc. So we will use K-means for unsupervised data set. Okay, K, which is called the number of groups. So as I said, it makes a number of clusters or number of groups. So that we get taking it as K. Say for example, K, if I am taking the value K equal to 5, then it is called, we are going to make 5 clusters. We want to classify 5 clusters. So the algorithm will categorize the items into K groups or clusters based on the similarity. to calculate how to make a cluster. So it is going to use the Euclidean distance, which means the distance from the starting and the end point. So as we already discussed in the previous videos of mine, you can go through that video also. So when there will be a boundary, there will be a boundary. When you draw a line, there will be a boundary. From that boundary, we are going to separate the data points from the boundary. So what, and this next data point, what is the distance between this the data point present in the boundary and the next to that? So x2, say if I am taking that as x1 or x2, this data point as x1, x2 minus x1, so plus y2 minus y1 the whole square. So this is a formula, square root of x2 minus x1 plus y2 minus y1 the whole square is the formula that you are taking for Euclidean, for finding the Euclidean distance between the data points. So this algorithm will find out Euclidean distance, measure the data points values, and then it will cluster it. Algorithm works as follows: randomly initialize the k points, then categorize each item into closest mean. Mean, that is we update mean coordinate, which is the average of item categorized in that cluster. So we repeat the process for number of iterations till at the end. So we make the clusters. So the point mentioned above are called mean, but they are the mean values of items. We say that we are going to categorize, right? So that mean value of those items we are going to calculate. So initialize. So to finding out the mean value or initialization of the mean, we have a lot of options. We have so many options. Like intuitive method is there to initialize the mean random items present in the data set. Another method, you can initialize the mean at random value between boundaries of the data set. Say, as I already said, right? The feature x, the item have value 0, 3. So starting and end will initialize the mean value of particular x as 0, 3. Okay. So the above algorithm, or we can say pseudocode, initialize the k value with random values for any given number of iteration. Say n is equal to 10. So there will be 10 iterations. So to make a k equal to 4 clusters. So iterate through the items, find the mean value which is closest to the item by calculating the Euclidean distance of the data. Okay. Assign the item to mean, update the mean by shifting it to average of the items present in the cluster. Okay. So here we are going to do only two things. We are going to make a cluster, and by doing the number of iteration, k equal to 5 and iteration n is equal to say 2 or 3. So within 3 iteration, we'll be making 5 cluster. How to identify the data point? As I said initially, the point which is present in the boundary. So there will be a boundary, upper boundary and lower boundary. So the data which will be having the similarities will be present in one upper boundary, and which is having a different patterns will be present in the next cluster. Okay. So finding out the distance. So how to make those cluster? Finding out the distance between the data points. Say I have taken as one data point as x, which how to find out the Euclidean distance? 0, 3. So the starting is 0, which is present in the boundary, and the distance between the other data point will be taken as 3. So the formula for finding out Euclidean distance, x2 minus x1 plus y2 minus y1 the whole square root of x2 minus x1 plus y2 minus y1 the whole square. So by having this, we will find out the distance between the items and make a cluster. So the rest we will discuss in the next lecture. Thank you.